All right, guys, so welcome to week 13. We are going to continue our back bending practice. There are a few new poses that we're going to be learning today, including locust pose, bow, puppy, and I might be forgetting one other one right now. But yeah, so we're going to be working on a little bit more of that back bending and then kind of reviewing some of the other poses that we've been working on all semester, including what we worked on last week. So with the way that we are setting up our weeks, we are not going to be meeting next week for your fall break. So I'd like to keep the theme so that you can have a couple weeks to think about it is will be gratitude for this practice today. So when we do a lot of that gratitude, we do a lot of these heart opening postures, and so that we can allow that fullness of the chest and of our heart. So let's go ahead and start off on our backs. And as you come onto your back, you're going to keep your knees bent and your feet on the floor. Feet are just going to stay in a hips distance position. It can go a little bit wider if that feels more comfortable for you. And I want you to keep your hands resting on top of your belly or down by your side. Just take some time to settle in and getting the hips nice and heavy, the shoulders to lie flat. If you need to work the shoulder blades underneath you, sometimes that helps to settle in even deeper. And then starting to breathe into your belly, letting it fill up into the side waist and low back as well. And exhaling the belly fully out. Breathing into the belly again, side waist, and that full circumference of the lower abdomen. And exhaling all the way out. This time breathing into belly and letting it roll up into the chest. And exhaling out the chest and the belly. And see if you can let that breath again roll up into belly, into chest, and let it be a very fluid transfer from belly into chest, just like a wave, the way that it builds and continues to crest. And then slowly returns back to that original source where it came from. Good. Breath in again. This time into belly, chest, and letting it rise up into the throat. And exhaling out the low throat, chest, and belly last. Then from here, as you continue to breathe, maybe not being as specifically mindful about breathing into those three parts, but still taking those full breaths, just begin to rock your head side to side. And as we rock our head side to side, we're doing so not because we're trying to see what our range of motion might be or needing to correct or fix anything. I just want you to feel the weight of the head being fully supported on the floor, just allowing those muscles in the neck to, on their own time, release. You may notice that the head starts to tip further and further as you continue to unwind. And then one more time in each direction. And once you're done, nose points up towards the ceiling. This one you may need to move your hair tie out of the way if you have one there. We're going to move our head in a nodding fashion. So you're going to lift your chin up towards the back of the room, away from your chest, opening up the front of the neck, and then exhale, nodding the chin in towards the chest. The back of the neck lengthens, and then chin lifts up and nods back down. And of course, you will mess up your hair with this one. This motion is probably not as exaggerated as that side to side motion. That's perfectly fine. Just noticing how that feels right now. Maybe you're feeling a different response through the other parts of the spine. I notice that as I chuck my chin in, my thoracic spine begins to rise. And as I tip my head up and back, my thoracic spine presses down into the ground. And again, going slowly. And bring the head back up to a neutral spine. Next, we're going to move into these reclined or supine cat-cows. So we're going to see if we can initiate either from the thoracic spine or the low back, but try not to move the pelvis as much. You just want to keep it as neutral as possible. And if the head happens to move, it moves, but we're not going to be initiating any of that movement like we were just doing. So you're going to press down through the shoulders to lift up through the rib cage, and then press down through the rib cage into the ground. Lifting rib cage up and pressing it down, lifting rib cage up. And again, your low back will start to move a little bit, and then pressing it down, up and down, up and down. Good. Moving back to a neutral spine. Moving our attention to our pelvis. I want you to keep your pelvis in that rocking forward and back movement. So going towards 6 o'clock, tail gets heavy, pubic bone reaches forward, anterior tilt, and then scooping the pelvis in the other direction. Low back presses down, pubic bone reaches up. You feel your navel pulls into spine. Tail gets heavy, 6 o'clock, and then going to 12 o'clock, and then 6 o'clock again, and 12, and 6, and 12, and 6 again, last one, and 12 o'clock. Good, coming back to neutral. Bring your arms down by your sides. We're going to move into our bridge pose. So a little review from last week. Make sure that your feet are hip distance apart. Anchor down into your heels, the balls of the feet, lifting up with the pubic bones. We're keeping a little bit of that 12 o'clock like tilt. Okay, so pressing down through those feet. And as I mentioned, you want to feel the balls of the feet pressing down. So if you're having trouble locating them, lift the toes up off of the floor, anchor down into all four corners of those feet, but especially that inside line of the foot with the arches still lifting. Good. And then release the toes back down. Keep those arches lifting. Walk the shoulders underneath you. And see if you can interlace the fingers, pressing down to the pinky side of the arms and lifting the hips up higher. Inner thighs squeeze towards each other. We're still keeping those knees hips distance apart. Good. Big stretch along the front of the body in bridge pose. And releasing the arms. Roll the spine down one vertebra at a time. See if you can get that low back to touch down. Ooh. And then coming back to that neutral spine. Take right knee into your chest. Hands wrap around. Left leg goes forward for wind releasing pose. Now, I want you to squeeze your forehead up to meet your right knee. Engage through your abdomen, pressing navel in towards the ground. Then lower head and shoulders back down. You're going to take the knee across into the twist. The left hand is going to guide it. Right arm goes in the opposite direction. Good. Bring the knee back up through center. And we're going to take the knee across to the right. So the knee just opens out wide. Your right hand supports it. And then the knee back up through center and across to the left again. So just feel like you're transferring that knee from side to side into your left hand through center. As you transfer the hands, it goes into your right hand as it goes out wide. Good. A couple more times in both directions. Moving into that twist. And that softer groin opening. And last time here. And returning it back to center. Good. Extend your right leg forward. Left knee squeezes in. Hands clasp around the front of the knee or shin, or even the back of the thigh. Bring your forehead up to meet it, squeezing into your abdomen, and then lower head and shoulders down, and moving into those twists. So you're going to take the knee across with your right hand, guiding it over. Left arm goes opposite. And then knee comes through center, left hand holds and encourages it out wide to the left. Good. Knee to the right, center, knee wide, and a few more times. And one last time in each direction. And bring it back into center. Take both knees into your chest. And we're going to actually start to rock front and back until we get some momentum and come all the way up to seated. It might take a few rocks to get you all the way there. You can kick through your legs and just massage the spine as you do so. Hopefully you don't have too hard of floors underneath you. If you do, hopefully this doesn't feel too tender on your back. And making your way all the way up to a seated position. There we go. Okay, now we're going to make our way onto our hands and knees and come into a tabletop position. And we'll go through some cat-cows. All right, so knees are directly underneath you. Hands are underneath your shoulders. Fingertips are spread out. Inhale, draw the tail up. Head and shoulders pull back. Good. Exhale, round the spine to your cat. I'm just noticing how this particular cat-cow, we're moving our spine freely in space, exhale round, feels different from the reclined cat-cow that we were doing earlier. So with that pushing into the ground may have felt perhaps limiting in how much you were able to move, but it may have changed the aspect of the stretch and the sensation of the pose. Good, a few more. Inhaling into your cow, collarbones widen, and exhaling, rounding through the spine into your cat. Good. And then back into your neutral spine. So back into tabletop position. Engage through your core. We're going to go through our balancing tabletop. So nice review. Right leg is going to extend straight back behind you. Left arm extends straight out in front of you. Lengthen out through your fingertips on left hand, and then shoot back through your right heel. Good. Now we're going to add a little variation. So left arm's going to go wide to the side, out towards the left side of the room. You're going to bend your right knee, toes point up, and the thigh is going to be horizontal still. You're going to reach back now with your left hand and see if you can grab a hold of right foot. All right, if you're having trouble with grabbing a hold, you can always tuck your knee under, swing the foot off to the side, and then see if you can grab a hold of the foot and point the knee up towards the sky. All right, so now just grabbing a hold of the foot, it might not be enough. I want you to kick your foot into your hand and lift your head and chest up. Good. Keep gripping with your fingertips on that right hand, toes to the sky, head up high, smile. And then extending through the arm and leg back into your balancing tabletop bird dog, and hand and knee come down. Woo, good stuff. I can see your handprint on your mat, Lauren. You had some good gripping there. All right, so now left leg is going to go back. Right hand goes forward. Fingertips lengthen away from you. Left heel presses back. So engaging through the core to maintain that stability. Right arm reaches out wide to the side. Left knee bends, toes to the sky. Knee is still in line with the hip. You're going to grab a hold of the foot, your right hand, and kick the toes up. Good. Big opening. And this kind of big back bend is a little foreshadowing of what we will be doing later on in our bow pose. Good. Toes up a little bit higher. And then extending through the arm and leg. And hand and knee down. And taking a child's pose. Hips go back on top of heels. Forehead rests on the mat. Good, and let's come up onto all fours. We're gonna make our way back into downward facing dog. Toes curl under, hips lift up and back. Pedal out through your feet, marching the heels up and down. Still pressing your hips towards the back of the room, moving them away from your shoulders. That allows for a little bit more of that traction of the spine. You feel that the spine becomes longer. Good. Then looking between your hands, walk your feet to the top edge of the mat, coming into your standing forward fold. Feet are hips distance apart, toes are still facing forward. Balls of the feet, the heels, inner and outer heels, and the knuckles of the pinky toes are touching down. You're feeling their arches are still lifting up here. Round your spine like a cat. Pull your navel in. Slowly start to lift and stack the vertebrae one at a time until you come up to standing at your mountain pose. Lengthening crown up towards the sky. I'm going to go through 2 rounds of our classical sun salutations, so the traditional ones that we've been doing throughout the semester, and then we're going to go through 4 rounds of the variation with the back bend that we learned last week. You have the option of going into the traditional ones for the rest of them, for all 6 rounds, but you have the option of doing the variation today. All right, So standing in your mountain pose, draw the navel in, anchor down through your feet, your calves separate and inner thighs squeeze. And then inhale, circle the arms wide and high, upward hand salute. Exhale, fold in half, hinge from the hips and take it down. Inhale, right foot steps back, lunge, hips down, chest lifts, look up, smile. Exhale, stepping left foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale, shoulders come forward over your wrists. Exhale, knees, chest, chin to the ground. Inhale to cobra, hips down, tops of feet anchor, neck as long as the heart lifts. Exhale, bow, send it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot steps forward, top edge of the mat. Bring it all the way there as you look up. And then exhale, left foot forward, standing forward fold. Good. Inhale, sweep the arms wide and high, lifting up. And exhale to mountain pose. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, fold forward, hinging from the hips and taking it down. Inhale, left foot steps back, lunge, let the hips lower. Exhale, right foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale to plank, shoulders over the wrists. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale to cobra, heart pulls forward, head comes along for the ride. Exhale, bow, send it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot steps forward, all the way top edge of the mat, even if you have to grab the ankle for it. Exhale, right foot forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, reverse the swan dive, come up. Exhale to mountain pose. Now for the variation. Inhale, sweep the hands forward, weight goes into the toes, lift up and back with the front of the body, and then exhale, hinge forward as the arms sweep down towards the ground to frame your feet. Inhale, right foot steps back. Here's the next back bend, right knee down, arms sweep forward as your hips stay out in front of you, arms and head back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, shoulders over the wrists. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, bow and send it back, downward facing dog. Next back bend, right foot forward. Lunge, knee to the ground, arms sweep forward, up and back. Exhale, standing forward fold. Left foot meets the right, head relaxes down. Inhale, hands reach forward and all the way up. Little back bend as the weight goes into toes, hips forward. Exhale, fold in half. Inhale, left foot back, knee to the mat. Arms sweep forward, up and back. Exhale, hands down, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, bow, take it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot forward, right knee down, arms sweep forward, up and back. Exhale, standing forward fold, right foot meets the left. Inhale, press down through feet to lift up. Standing back bend, and then exhale, fold in half again. Inhale, right foot back, knee to the mat, arms sweep forward, up and back. Keep those hips driving out in front of you. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, bow, take it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot forward, left knee down, arms sweep up and back. Exhale, standing forward fold, left foot meets the right. Inhale, sweep the hands forward, come up. Last round, exhale, fold in half. Inhale, left foot back, knee to the mat, arms sweep forward, up and back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale, knees just chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, bow, take it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot forward, right knee down, arms sweep forward, up and back. Good, and then exhale, standing forward fold. Right foot meets the left. Inhale, hands reach forward and all the way up to the sky. And then exhale to standing. Squeeze those inner thighs as you float the arms forward and down by your sides. Take a few deep breaths here. Good. All right, any questions on that? Nope. All right. So I want you to stand at the top of your mat, and I'm not going to be facing you for this one, just because we're going to be flowing through some of these poses. So I'm going to stand at the top of our mat, and I want you to come into tree pose. We're going to shift the weight into our right foot, bring your left foot to the inner ankle, calf, or the inner thigh, and the knee points at a diagonal off to the side. Feel that standing leg squeeze in and up. Hands can stay at your heart center in a prayer shape, or the hands can reach up towards the sky, whichever you prefer. And fix your drishti on something that's not moving. Breathing deeply. Good. We're going to transition without hands. Look, Mom, no hands. You're going to bring your left knee forward. Bend your right leg, a standing leg. You're going to tip forward and shoot the left foot back into warrior two. Foot comes down and the arms branch out wide into a T shape. Good. Lengthening out through the fingertips, reaching out, sinking down through your hips. Good. From your warrior two, we're going to lift the right palm, reverse the warrior. Left hand slides down the back leg, right fingertips reach up and back. Inhale, lift yourself up, warrior two. And then straightening out your right leg, we're going to reach forward and then come into triangle pose. The right hand comes down as left arm reaches up. Squeeze from those inner thighs in towards each other. Good. Inhale, lift yourself up, bending your right knee. And then exhale, hands cartwheel down to frame your foot. I want you to plant your left hand down on the ground, and the right hand stacks on top of the knee, or you can bring it straight up towards the sky for a twist, lunge twist. Good, another full breath. And then right hand comes down. You're gonna walk the hands over to the left, going about to the wide angle of the mat, spinning on that ball of the ball of the left foot and the heel of the right foot, and come into your standing wide leg forward fold. Hands reach towards the ground, and the head eventually is going to come down to the floor. So keep that weight forward in the toes. It might even feel like you're going to tip and fall over. I just want you to feel how your body is putting that weight into the toes to support you here. Good. Pressing into your hands, walk the hands all the way to your left foot. So you're going to go around into your lunge facing the back edge of the mat. Right hand plants down, and then left hand's going to stack on top of the knee, and they'll be moving into the twist here with the hand on the knee or the left hand to the sky. Remember that we're trying to move from the rib cage, so spinning the left lung on top of the right lung. Good. I'm trying to stack the shoulders that way as opposed to working from the shoulders. Good. Left hand comes down to the floor. spin your right heel down and come up into your warrior two on this side. Branch out into your arms, lengthening through the fingertips, sink down through your hips. Good, reversed warrior. Left palm flips up, right hand slides down the back leg. Big stretch through side body as you sink down, right groin towards left foot. Inhale, lifting back up. Exhale, straightening out the left leg. Reach forward, touch the fingertips away from you, and then the hand comes down, right hand to sky, triangle pose. Good, then inhale, lift yourself back up into warrior two. All right, so here comes the fun part. We're gonna go back into our tree pose, standing on our left leg. All right, you're gonna reach forward with your left fingertips. Get a little bit of momentum. Drag that right foot up and slide it up to the inner thigh, ankle, or calf, and stand at the back of your mat in your tree. We're going to go back around through the same sequence, just going through that, and then eventually ending up at the front of our mat again. So right knee is going to spin forward. Right foot steps back into warrior two, bending left leg, and you step all the way back. Arms reach out wide into your T shape. Good. Reverse the warrior. Inhale back up into warrior two. Straightening out the front leg and reaching forward, taking the hand down into triangle pose, looking up. Good, inhale, coming back up, warrior two, and then hands cartwheel down, framing the foot as you come into your lunge. You're on the ball of your right foot, left hand can go up towards the sky. Left hand comes down and walk the hands between the legs, standing wide leg forward fold. Take a moment. Hands walk over to your right foot, so facing the front edge of the mat, left hand down, right hand goes up. Maybe the hand is on the knee still. And then right hand down as you spin the left heel to the ground, lifting up warrior two. Reverse the warrior. Lifting up into warrior two. Straightening out your front leg, reach forward, and then take the hand down. Triangle pose. Left hand to sky. Lifting yourself back up into warrior two. We're going to make our way back into our triangle pose. Woo! The whole mat slipped out from underneath me. Woo! Again. All right, so you're going to move in the same direction as your right toes. Slowly start to bring your left foot up along the inside of your right leg. Good, standing up nice and tall. Another full breath here. And spinning left knee forward, slowly release the foot back down to the mat. All right, let's inhale, bring the arms up, reaching up towards the sky, and then exhale, fold in half, hinging from the hips, taking it down. Inhale to a flat back, lift halfway, and then exhale, fold in half. You're going to inhale and walk your feet back into plank position. I'm going to change directions. And exhale, lower yourself all the way down to the floor. All right, so we're going to make our way into some variations of our cobra pose. And cobra is actually classified as a back bend, but because we've already addressed it in our sun salutations, we're not necessarily addressing it as specifically as the back bend in this, I guess, category. But it is. It's a very nice back bend, in fact. So the hands are going to be directly underneath the shoulders, fingertips are spread, and elbows tuck in. Anchor down into the tops of the feet and keep pushing down. So you're packing your thighs. Good. Reach your pubic bone towards the floor. So you're just lifting up on the navel a little bit. Lift the chest up as you press into the hands slightly and hug your elbows in tight to your body. Elbows are going to firm away from your shoulders. Good, another full breath in here. And then exhale down. Inhale, press down and lift the chest up. This time you're going to hover your hands off of the floor, about an inch. There we go. Keep your feet down for this round. Keep pressing down into the feet. See if you can lift up a little bit more with the chest. Good. Navel in. Woo. And then lower back down. Forehead and hands come down to the ground. All right. Next time, we're going to lift the hands and the legs, but just follow the cues first. All right. Press down. Tops of feet. Lift the chest. Neck is long. Lift the hands, let them hover, elbows point to the sky. Then lift the legs up and feel that length through the front of the body. Good. Keep reaching, tuck that chin a little bit more and see if you can lift from the back of your head. Good, and then lower all the way back down. All right, so we're gonna move into our next pose, which is known as locust. So L-O-C-U-S-T. And with this posture, it's going to be a pretty intense back strengthening. So all of your backside is going to be working to lift your body up off the ground, okay? We're not levitating, but we're gonna be pressing down through our pubic bone and the very front of our hips to try to get the rest of the body to lift up, okay? Do what you can. If you happen to have a towel or a strap, if you're having trouble with the hands clasping behind you, you can always grab a hold of the towel and try to work there, okay? But if you are able to get your fingers to interlace, you're going to bring the fingertips to interlace, heels of the hands come together onto that sacrum. Let's come into this together. You're going to lift your chest, lift the legs, lift the hands, and take your knuckles towards your feet. Keep reaching through the front of the body. Good. Opening up. Good. Keep breathing. Maybe the thighs and the kneecaps come up off the floor a little bit. Woo. And then grab, imagine that you have a grapefruit between your ankles. You're going to squeeze onto that grapefruit. Yes. So you can get some grapefruit juice. And I say grapefruit because it's rather large, and then it's also pretty bitter and sour at the same time, which is probably what you might be experiencing right now. Some bitterness and sourness towards the pose. Good, exhale and lower yourself all the way down. Bring your hands to the floor out in front of you, stacking the hands and bring your forehead to rest on top. Wag your tail side to side just to release that low back. And then settle back into your child's pose. So hips are going to go way back on top of your heels, and the forehead comes towards the mat. All right, so we're going to come up onto all fours again, and we're going to move into our next posture, which is known as puppy pose. Okay, so puppy pose is just a kneeling variation of our downward facing dog, or the full dog pose, right? So with this one, you want to make sure that you have your thighs so that they are vertical, so your hips don't actually move forward or back, they stay exactly where they are. You're going to walk your hands out in front of you a good 8 to 12 inches. You're going to walk them out in front of you as far as they'll let you go without your hips coming forward, and then dip your chest down as you flip your tail up towards the sky. Your forearms and elbows will eventually come towards the ground, and either bringing your forehead, your chin, or your chest towards the floor. The chest is a pretty difficult part to access. And I want you to feel the fingertips pressing into the ground as you send your hips back and then coming into that 6 o'clock tilt of the pelvis. In a variation of our puppy pose, you are more than welcome to take it. If you do not want to, feel free to stay where you are. You'll bring your hands together into a prayer shape, palms touching. You'll bend your elbows and point them up toward the hands up towards the sky. So this actually might be a little bit more of a narrow position for your elbows, and that allows your chest to dip down and get a deeper stretch, especially into those shoulders. The hardest part is relaxing here. It's a very vulnerable position with our heart fully exposed. Just opening up and sinking into it. And I find that the trick is just finding the breath and especially finding that exhalation to allow ourselves to just relax into the pose. Good. And if the hands or the elbows are bent, straightening them out. You're going to bring your elbows down onto the ground, regardless of where you were. And I want you to shoot your chest forward. Lower your hips down to the floor. We're going to go right into our Sphinx pose. So a little review from last week. Elbows are on the floor. Palms are facing down. Tops of feet press into the ground. Lift the chest up. Head up high. Good. Bring your left hand towards your right wrist. You're going to bend your right knee. Grab a hold of the foot with your right hand. Squeeze the foot in tight towards your body. See if you can come onto the top of the foot with the elbow up high and press the heel down towards your glute. So really get some height here. Good. And then see if you can spin your chest forward. There you go, Angelica. So turn your chest or your heart center. So notice how, Angelica, you might be turning towards the side. See if you can move your chest as if you're facing the front edge of your mat, just like your sun salutation. Yes, there it is. Good. And switch. You're going to bring your right elbow to the floor. Arm is going to come at diagonal. Bend your left knee and grab a hold of the foot with left hand. See if you can bring that elbow up high and point it up towards the sky as you place the hand on top of the foot and encourage the foot down. Good. Keep pressing down. We're pushing down into right elbow to keep the spine lifted up tall. Good. Big stretch in that left thigh. Wonderful. And then slowly releasing, left foot down. Bring your hands to the floor out in front of you and rest your head directly on top of your stacked hands. All right, for our next position, it is known as bow, B-O-W. And it gets its name from the shape that you're actually going to be coming into and the way that we come into that shape. And just like a bow, as in a bow and arrow, you'll have two parts of the body that will be moving in different directions. So when you have a bow, you'll actually pull back on the back portion of it, and it'll start to bow the front portion of it, right? And what we're doing is very similar. We'll be pushing back with our feet, and our legs and arms create this bow or this the back tension of the stretch. And the front of the body actually creates that bowing sensation, okay? All right, so if you need to see this one, we'll be doing this at least twice. So you can definitely just take a peek and watch the first demonstration of this. Otherwise, if you know and you've done this before, feel free to come into this with me as we do it this first time. Okay. So for the position, you're going to bend your knees and point the toes up towards the sky. You'll take notice of the pelvis. So if you're tight like me, your hips probably lifted up and you might have some gap or space underneath your pelvis. You'll bring your pelvis down towards the ground, actively engaging here. Okay. Then the next act is to grab a hold of the feet. Okay. And see if you can grab a hold of the feet, the front of the ankles, the shins, whatever you can hold on to. If you have a strap, you can also use the strap along the feet. Okay. And hold on to the strap like so. All right. I'm going to get all tangled up like a spider web. All right. So we're holding on to the feet. I want you to kick your feet towards the back of the room. So you're kicking your feet away from you. You're kicking, kicking, kicking. You're going to feel how your chest will automatically lift up there. Now we're going to add a little bit more height to this position. So I want you to point your toes and your tail and your crown up towards the sky. You're kicking and getting that full height. Good. That belly is now bowing into the ground. Toes are reaching up high. If you can get your thighs to come up off the floor, keeping your inner thighs and knees squeezing in. Another full breath in here. And exhale, bend the knees. Carefully lower yourself back down and bring your hands underneath your forehead and sway your hips side to side. Just wagging your tail. All right. For those of you who are watching this, you have the opportunity to practice this as well. We can go into this a couple times. And those of you who participated in that last session, you'll be doing this 2 more times. So make sure to honor and take care of your back body. All right, bend your knees. Grab a hold of the feet. Kick your feet back behind you. Toes reach up towards the sky, pulling the thighs up and away from the floor. Draw the navel in, head up to the sky. There is going to be a crease in your neck here. That's okay. Squeeze through those shoulders. Keep kicking back through those legs. Another full breath. And then slowly bend the knees and bring your head down on top of your hands. You can keep your knees bent if you want to rock your hips side to side here. All right, and we'll come into this one last time. For this last time, if you'd like to, you can partake in a little bit of fun and come into a side bow variation, okay? So if this is your 3rd time doing it, you can certainly try this. All right, so I'm gonna grab a hold of your feet, coming into our bow, again, the same way that we did the first 2 times, kicking your feet back, toes to the sky, heart reaches forward in the opposite direction of your legs. Good, and for our side bow position, I'm gonna roll over onto my left side just so you can see a little bit better view of this. I'm gonna roll over to my left side, tip, 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 woo. And now I'm all the way down. I'm gonna squeeze that top knee down and then kick my feet back behind me. And get a big stretch there. You roll back onto your belly, back into your bow, and then over to the other side. Sending those feet away from your body. And then back in through center. If you're still in your bow, keep reaching. And then everyone, lower back down. Wag your tail side to side. You might feel your heart thumping in your chest here. It's a pretty big posture for a lot of us. And with that sensation of the opening up our spine, it actually activates a lot of that energy in our body. So we start to feel alert and alive, awakened. All right, let's take it back into child's pose. And I want you to take a little bit wider kneed variation of child's pose. So the knees are going to go out to the outer edges of the mat, and then the hips sink back, forehead down to the floor. Good, and then rise up onto all fours. Still keep those knees nice and wide. I'll show you from the front view. You're gonna come up and I want you to swing your right foot a little bit forward, your left foot to the side as you sit back, coming into Bharadvajasana twist. Okay, so we'll sit up tall for this. Right shin is forward, left foot is by the outer hip. You can see how the top of my foot is on the floor here. Try to anchor down through that left hip. Right fingertips behind you, left hand on opposite leg. Lifting up tall as you start to spin around. Good, and returning back into center. Lean into your right hip, swing the legs around to the other side. Left fingertips behind you, right hand on opposite knee, and move into that twist. Good, and then return the heart back into center. Lean into left hip, and you're going to bring your right foot up and over. We're going to come into a posture that I actually have labeled as a hip opening pose, cow face pose. It also has an upper portion of the body, which tends to help to open up the shoulders. So this is where you may want to also have your strap or your towel. I'm going to show you the leg portion first, and then we're going to do the arms together a little bit later. Okay, so for the legs, I want you to bring your leg, left leg forward. The knee is going to line up with your belly button. So the knee kind of cuts across the body. The hip is going to be wide and the knee is more narrow. Okay, then we're going to take the top leg or right leg, it's going to stack on top. We're going to lower that hip down. I'm not sitting on my foot. Okay, I'm just trying to keep my hip to the outer, the inside of that foot. So both feet eventually might come to the outsides of your hips. Okay, so you can play around with this. Sometimes it can be very challenging to do. Okay, especially for the hip portion of it. Okay, any questions on this so far? This posture. If you're having trouble with this one, you can also grab a hold of a block and place it underneath your seat and give yourself a little bit more space to work with, okay? Especially if you're limited in your hip range of motion in this sense. All right, so for the hips, let's work on the shoulders. For the shoulders, we actually have this as an exercise or one of the tests in your post-test, your pre-test, post-test, where you'll bring one arm up towards the sky, you'll bend the elbow, and you'll reach the other hand out and away. So I'm going to turn around so it's a little bit easier for you to see what this looks like. Okay, so for this one, I want you to inhale and reach your right arm up or left arm up towards the sky. You're going to bend the elbow and pat yourself on the back, on that same shoulder. Okay, it's important that we're doing the same shoulder because if we're having a lot of that range of motion limitation here, you're going to have the hand a little bit more across the body, and you're getting a little bit different stretch more into the outside of the shoulder, and the shoulder blade will flare out to the side, as opposed to that external rotation of the shoulder and bringing it down in here. Okay, so seeing if you can pat yourself on the same side. You're going to bring your right arm out wide to the side with the palm facing away from you, thumb points down. Bend from the shoulder and bend at the elbow until you can bring the top of your right hand to the middle of your back. Do the best that you can to get those hands to eventually connect. Okay, so this is also where you can use a towel or a strap. The strap would go into your top hand. It'll hang down, and then you're going to grab a hold of the strap with the bottom hand and then try to choke up on that strap. So don't just keep it down here, okay, because then you miss out on the flexibility from this shoulder. So see if you can close the gap as you're working there, sitting up tall in the leg portion of your cow face pose. Take another full breath in here. Deep breath out. Once more, inhale and exhale. Untangle the hands and the arms. Lift the shoulders up towards your ears, loop them back, and gently release. All right, let's switch the legs out. So you're going to lean back, untangle the legs, just like you're a sprinkler. Okay, so I think we had the right leg on top for that one. So you lean back, untangle, and change. All right. There are other fun, fancy ways of coming in and out of that pose, but it might be a little too complicated with the mirroring and doing this on video. So that's for a later time. All right, so you want to have the knees so that they're trying to line up with your belly button. You have the option with the block. You have your legs in this shape of your cow face, at least the lower half of the cow face pose. All right, then we're going to take our right hand up, and then you're going to bend the elbow and pat yourself on the back on that same side. Left arm goes wide, palm faces away, thumb points down. Slide the arm down, bend the elbow, and see if you can link the fingertips here. Lifting up tall through the chest, pointing that right elbow up towards the sky and in towards your ear. Good. Yes. Take another full breath in here. So you guys see the cow face in this? The knees are the lips, the toes are the whiskers, the elbows are the ears. You got one ear up and one ear down. I'm not going to tell you where the eyes are. Good. Another full breath here. Good. And slowly release the arms. Good. Big loops to the shoulders, up and back. And then you're going to lean back, untangle the legs, reach the heels forward. Let's bring the arms up towards the sky. And then exhale, hinge forward into your seated forward fold. You can use the strap again, bring belly towards the thighs, head relaxes down. And just breathing into your low back. And then you can always have your knees bent so your belly comes closer to your thighs. Later, I would have you bend your knees a little bit more and bring belly to thighs. There we go. Get that deepened hinge from the hip. Good. So we're getting into both the low back and the hamstrings. Yeah, there you go. Nice, guys. And then inhale, reach the arms forward, lifting all the way up. Exhale, release the arms down by your side. You're going to slide your hips forward towards your feet. We're going to make our way all the way down onto our back. All right, so the hands come to the back of the thighs. You're going to slowly tuck and round to the spine. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. As you lower yourself down, got my strap over here. And I want you to walk your feet to the outer edges of the mat with the knees tip over to the right, center, to the left, just like windshield wipers. Good. I'm just feeling the hips start to return back to a more neutral place. Because when we bend into our spine and our back, we're not just feeling the flexible parts of our spine move, we're also feeling the more rigid parts of our spine, which include the sacrum, which attaches to the hip, the SI joint, sacroiliac. Good. One more breath here. And return it back to stillness. Come into happy baby pose. Knees pull wider than the torso. Grab a hold of the outsides of the feet and just rock your baby side to side. Good, and come back to stillness. Bend your knees completely. Draw the legs together. Pull your forehead up to meet your knees. Squeeze. Lower head and shoulders down. And rest fully into your corpse pose, whether it's full corpse, the legs extended out in front of you, reaching out through the heels, arms come out wide into that downward V shape, or even having your knees bent if that feels more neutral for your spine and back. Close your eyes if you haven't already. Be placing a towel over your eyes. And just start to unwind. And just feel like the coil of your core unraveling, unwinding like a cord or piece of thread. Every out breath allowing you to release deeper into the ground. The reading for today is entitled The Gift of Prayer. And there's a quote by Gandhi. Prayer is not asking, it is a longing of the soul, it is daily admission of one's weakness. And so it is better in prayer to have heart without words than words without a heart. This great spiritual teacher reminds us that prayer of the deepest kind is more a pledge of gratitude for what has already been received than a request or plea for something not yet experienced. Such an effort refreshes the soul. Implicit in Gandhi's instruction is the need to surrender our lives here on earth. By admitting our weaknesses, we lay down all the masks we show the world. And as we do so, What is holy floods in. I once saw a blind man rocking endlessly in the sun, an unstoppable smile on his face. Not a word was uttered. To me, he was a priest, a shaman, and his whole being was praying and shouting in silence that the day, beyond his blindness, was happily enough. This is what the heart knows beyond all words, if we can find a way to listen. That beyond our small sense of things, a magnificent light surrounds us, more than anyone could ask for. This is what prayer as gratitude can open us to. So as you breathe here, close your eyes and cease all asking. Simply breathe with gratitude for the air. Relax and feel your frailties and imperfections, and let the simple air fill them. Breathe deeply and slowly. And from your tender, imperfect inside, ask for nothing and give nothing. Just feel without words for your soul's place in the fabric of things. And from where you are, take a full breath in and exhale, let out a sigh. Another inhale and let it go. Inhale and stretch the arms up and overhead, reach long throughout the entire body. And exhale, release with a sigh. Draw the knees lightly into your chest, wrap the arms around, and carefully roll over to one side. You're going to make your way up to a comfortable seat, pressing those hands into the floor and extending top leg. Grab your dog. Good. And then bring your hands together at your heart center. Bow your head softly forward. I am thankful for you and for allowing me to share this practice with you. The light within me bows to the light within you. Namaste.